Mike Kodema here. Be a warrior, not a warrior. So this is going to be another favorite messages video, and this one's more recent. Most of mine are going to be very old things that I witnessed over the years in different places. But this one I saw recently on a YouTube channel with a gentleman from Dubai named Pastor Bubbling. He has these live prayer sessions where he gives messages and then prays for people. And it's amazing what he is able to do sometimes. He can single you out in the chat and know what's going on in your life. God shows him. It's really cool. So check out his channel. So it's Prophetic Prayers with Pastor Bobaline. Bobaline. Okay. Bobeline. Okay. So shout out to him. All right. So basically, he gave a message one day about making an impact rather than just making an impression on people. So I have a summary here that I put together just quickly. Impact is made through humble service, genuine love for a fellow man, as shown through our actions rather than seeking just to impress others with our words, material ownership, or intellect. Key principles include prioritizing our neighbor's good, maintaining pure motives, and living out one's faith to build up rather than tear down those around you. So we want to make sure that we're trying to build up people as much as possible. With our words, we all have off days. Sometimes there are things that people do that we think are absurd, and we make offhand comments. Nobody's perfect, okay. But overall, we're trying to build people up wherever we are doing things for Christ. There's a scripture here, Philippians 2:3-5. Such a person encourages believers not to be selfish or to try and impress others. Get validation from others, I guess you could say, but to be humble, considering others as better than themselves, at least with their first impression. Okay, so obviously people are better than others in different ways. Nobody's perfect though. So when you meet somebody, even if it's obvious that they are lacking in some areas of their lives than others, maybe something that you are not lacking in, that doesn't mean there's some other area of your life that they have in abundance that you don't. So we want to make sure that we're, judging with right judgment, looking at people in a correct manner, and being that good example for the other people, even if they're lacking in a lot of areas and it's immediately obvious. That doesn't mean that they're a bad person at heart, and we want to make sure that we are being a good example for them in place of Christ, so that they can see that example and it can make an impact on their lives in a positive way. In other words, don't push people away just because they have faults. So do you. You may not see them, but we all do. Okay. So impact is made by loving others, demonstrating care, and showing kindness. Followers of Jesus are recognized by how well they love others, not just their words. Okay, so, and we have 1 Corinthians 10:23-24 advises that while some actions may be permissible in relation to doing things for ourselves, we can do things for ourselves. It's okay. They should be beneficial to others as well, though, and not just self-serving. So now that means, if God leads you to buy a nice house for yourself or a good car and do good things for yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. But we should also be doing things that, for others as well as Christians, and not only be self-serving. Using words to uplift others, we do. According to Proverbs 8:21, they should be used to encourage and inspire rather than discourage. So there are areas where we need to discourage people from doing bad things, obviously, or wasteful things. But we do that with loving correction, and we don't do it in a negative way. We just say, hey, you might not want to do that for these reasons, and using scripture or just general wisdom. But most of the time, we're going to make sure that we're encouraging people. We're encouraging them in their gifts. We're helping point out their strengths and saying, hey, man, you should lean into that, that type of thing. You're good at that. And stuff like that. So then we have having pure motives. There's a good example of that in Colossians 3:23-24, which emphasizes working for God rather than for human recognition. Ensuring that our actions come from a place of sincerity. Now, some people have a very difficult time being sincere. They have some type of emotional or mental issue, and that's okay. They struggle with sincerity, but they can achieve it much more easily when we show them again that example of sincerity. Some people just haven't had sincere people around them their entire lives, and going to church and meeting a real person, a genuine person who cares about them, might be the only experience that they have. So try to be as sincere as possible, honest as possible with people, without being discouraging. Build them up and don't tear them down. So some other verses related to having an impact rather than making an impression. Galatians 6:2, bear one another's burdens, fulfill the law of Christ. Acts 20:35 emphasizes that it is more blessed to give than to receive, obviously. 1 Peter 4:10, use whatever gift you have received to serve others. Romans 12:21, overcome evil with good. And the goal is to live in a way that is fearfully and wonderfully made, which is from Psalm 139:14, with value coming from character and positive influence. So the common thread here is basically action, not simply words that support having an impact on people. So when you can make an impression on people just by using your words, you can make an impression just by showing up and being somebody that's all flashy, that's hard to avoid or hard to ignore. Okay, and maybe you're likable, maybe you're affable, maybe people generally you're magnetic in that way, and that can be very useful in different situations. Okay, however, you want to make sure that even if you are impressing a lot of people with a lot of effort or no effort at all, you're making a genuine impact in people's lives. So that means that you're bringing something to them that causes them to have a permanent positive influence on their lives in some manner. And that's what we bring as Christians. And you don't have to be the flashy, charismatic person to do that. You can be very humble. You can even be shy. You can be someone who is very typically just understated in their approach, and just go as where God leads, and to the people that God leads you to go to, and serve them, help them with things, help them with projects, help them with their lives, especially if God leads you to a church to serve and you're looking for something to do. Okay, and so, or even this can even be work related. This can be other situations. Okay. So of course, again, I always remind people, these days, you want to make sure you're setting your boundaries with anybody that you're helping, especially people that are particularly needy. Okay. But you do want to make sure that you are having a genuine impact on people's lives and not just floating through as some, person that maybe people will remember 6 months down the road, but not much farther than that. Okay. Someone who has genuine impact on someone's lives, they'll never forget. And if you're a Christian, they'll never forget that you were a Christian while you were doing it. Okay, especially if you don't forget to give God the glory and the honor and the praise during the time that you knew them and helped them. Okay, and that's whether they're another Christian or not. So let's make sure that we are focusing on having a genuine impact on people, that we are not focusing on just what we want them to see in us, but that we are paying attention to the ways that we can improve others' lives as well as our own. And that is having an impact. Thank you for joining me here. Thank you for those who joined me on the recent prayer meeting. And we're going to keep doing that on the same night. I think the Lord's just leading me to just keep doing it. So again, my email is goingwithgod557@gmail.com. That's goingwithgod557@gmail.com. I know not many people watch the long versions of these videos, but I do have Christian novels at Amazon.com under my name, Michael Cordima, Cordima. Go ahead and check them out. And be blessed and be a warrior, not a warrior. Have a good night.